You gotta just chill out, man.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curd Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night, a little bit after 9 p.m. Where else would you rather be, Steelers fans? And with me, as always, except when he's not, is my big brother Rich, Big Bro Scho. How are you doing this week?
Doing just fine, little brother Dave.
Yeah, you're doing good. We were a couple minutes late because I was trying to get some settings right. We had some funky stuff going on with microphones. But hopefully we got that down and square and good for everybody. And here we are talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. Well, first of all, as an aside, did you get a lot of snow this weekend?
Yeah, we got about a foot.
Is it still sticking
Here.
around? Yeah.
Yes, and we're to get a couple more inches tonight. We got about a foot at our house, but you know, our dad lives, 8-9 miles east of us?
Uh-huh.
And he had about 3 inches. So we had way more snow than he had.
And he didn't have much more snow than what we had, where I am a long ways away. But if you went 20 miles to the east of me, then it really started to pile up again. It was crazy. But the reason I ask is, here we go. We're talking about, the combine coming up this week, leading up to the NFL draft, and really thinking about the season. And normally when you think draft and everything else, I think spring, and it doesn't quite feel like spring yet, does it?
It did last week.
Yeah,
before
it did
it
last
snowed
week.
on me. It was nice and spring feely.
Yeah, well, maybe next week it'll feel better. I'll go ahead and say we'll have to see exactly for the same time next week because I'm going to be, quote unquote, on location. I have to say it that way or else Jeff gives me a hard time. I might even have the ocean in the background as I have a week away, get to some warmer weather and maybe come back to some warmer weather to feel more like we're getting into that time of year. Because honestly, the combine's this week, I'm away the next week. The following week, start of the league year. So it's ready to go. All these questions and all these things that we're curious about with the Steelers, they're actually getting some answers are right in front of us, but there's still a couple weeks to go. And as we saw last year, we could go weeks after the start of the league year, weeks after the draft, and still have some big questions. But as the Steelers go into a new era with a new head coach and a almost completely new coaching staff, a lot of fans are wondering, how are they going to do stuff? What are they thinking about various things? You really don't know. Players that the former coaching staff may have loved, might not be guys that this coaching staff thinks a lot of. There might be guys that weren't utilized in a certain way from before that the new coaching staff may really like them in a certain way. It's hard to understand. But today we got a little bit of a peek of stuff, not really a lot, because as we said, as we talked about with this last year, you can say a lot without really saying not much at all. So rather than reference that kind of song, I referenced a different song in this tonight's episode. And do we know more today than yesterday? After hearing Omar Khan speaking at the NFL Combine.
Sing it.
Will we? No. More to do. We know more today than yesterday.
There you go. You're going to say.
Now we're going to get flagged on YouTube. There we go. Copyright infringement. There we go, Big Bro. No more monetization for us.
I don't know if you sang it good enough that it will pick it up.
That's why I did. I tried to leave some ambiguity there. But we didn't hear from Omar Khan after the end of the season. Hadn't heard from Omar Khan for a long time. And the GM has such an important role with everything, with forming the players on the roster. So the question is, did we learn much? So I have a few topics I'm going to bring up, and basically their positions with the Steelers. And I'm going to ask you if you think we really learned anything new, or if we, as Steelers fans, or if we still don't really know what's going on. Sound good?
Sure.
Were you able to hear or see some of the stuff with Omar Khan?
I was not.
Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to raise these ideas, and this is for those of you that didn't catch his time, because there was actually at least three different times. All right, first Omar Khan met with just Pittsburgh media, and all you could get is some clips or quotes from the Pittsburgh media. Then he met in general with everybody. That's where you could actually see that video on the Steelers website. Then I'm pretty sure he went on like SNR radio or something like that. Because one of those things that like Matt Cat 49 brought up, it says Ramsey will seemingly remain for 26. That must have been in one of those places where it might not have been as publicized as much, because somebody else put that in our Slack channel. And I'm like, I'm sitting here reading the whole transcript, doing an article on it, and I don't see that anywhere. So there was a lot of words from different places from Omar Khan. You might not have caught much of them. I don't know that I've caught all of them. And maybe even the live chat can help us out with some of these things. But we'll get to that one that Matt Cat brought up a little bit later, because I'm going to start off with the quarterback position. So we heard some, once again, glowing reviews of Will Howard, like we heard from Mike McCarthy. We heard about how they broke down his film of practice since he came off of his injury to the end of the season to look at how he was progressing. Then there was questions about Aaron Rodgers and his potential return. And probably the biggest thing from Omar Khan, he would not give a date. He wouldn't give a hard deadline, and I don't blame him. But he did say that he didn't expect things to drag on as long this year as it did last year. Do we really know any more today than what we did before, than we did yesterday when it comes to the quarterback situation of the Steelers?
Well, no, not really, because we had already, well, at least I had already brought up and talked about that things are going to be definitely on a different timetable for Rodgers this year, because last year basically Coach Tomlin gave him his space because he was good, because unbeknownst to everybody else, he got married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also at that point that things started to happen with Aaron Rodgers, there really wasn't anything else for the Steelers to do.
Right.
That came up more after that first wave of free agency, after Justin Fields did not sign back with the Steelers. And then you were kind of like left with, okay, now what? So Steel Dog 88 brings up, it says, from what I heard Khan talking to Rich Eisen, which I got nothing of Khan talking to Rich Eisen, sounds like A-Rod is a smokescreen for coming back. Maybe this is the Steelers not tipping their hand of what they plan on doing in free agency. Maybe this is the Steelers not tipping their hand of what they might do in the draft. I think we're going to be able to say this about every position. I don't know what I don't want the Steelers to necessarily go quarterback in the draft this year, just like I didn't want them to go last year. Last year, I'm like, oh, I mean, they're really only the good options at the very top of the draft. There's not much else that's great that you could go high, but maybe you could pick up something low. And that's what the Steelers did. So I feel like they're in a very similar situation, but I don't even know the need to go low again. You already have one from last year. So there's an awful, I don't know that there's anything else more to know about quarterback. And I don't know when there will be.
Again, I feel kind of like I did last year about, well, actually, no, I feel better this year than last year about quarterback, because Mason Rudolph's still in the building and Will Howard's in the building. Okay. I have complete faith that the front office and coaching staff figures it out from there.
But do we really know any more than, is that really any different than what we knew yesterday?
It's
No,
not different from
it's
what we
not.
knew yesterday. But as I said, I feel like because I'm not going to just compare it to yesterday, I'm going to compare it to how I was feeling last
Yeah.
year. I feel a little better this year than I felt last year. So,
Yes, I think you're right. Just to kind of close this up, I am going to go where DW put it out there that says, if I have to hear about Malik one more time, I'm going to puke. Well, don't listen to Andrew Wilbar then, because I'm sure you probably have to hear about him more. It's just, there's so much that, but no matter what the Steelers do, here's what we knew before, and here's what we know now.
Deal. Ready? If the
Yeah.
Steelers, this will be fun. If the Steelers sign Malik Willis,
Yeah.
I'm going to have Kyle tape me on the floor throwing a temper tantrum like Andrew Wilbar did when he drafted Kenny Pickett, and we're going to post it. So.
Honestly, I would be fine with Malik Willis.
Kyle's over there laughing.
The numbers they're projecting he would be signed at. That would be crazy. Because bottom line is, we're in a very similar situation as last year's. The Steelers' long-term answer at quarterback is not one that you're really looking at. The long-term answer for this year and long-term isn't really there. It's not like Will Howard couldn't potentially be something. I'm not shutting the door on that. I'm just not expecting it. But that's still not an answer right now that you would even know. So I don't think the Steelers are going to get any big answers for quarterback long-term this offseason, much like last season. Here's an interesting one that came up. How about left tackle? And this was interesting because I already had this article ready to go before Omar Khan spoke. But today just so happened to be the day on my Steelers exit interview articles that I've been doing at SteelCareerNetwork.com. Make sure you're checking that out. You don't have to check out the exit interview articles if you don't want to. At least check out SteelCareerNetwork.com in general. But today, it was two players. It was Broderick Jones and Dylan Cook. That's what I had as the two players that I did the exit interview for. And I'd already said what I'd said about it before Omar Khan spoke. But what I said, the biggest thing with Broderick Jones is you have to answer the question about his fifth-year option before anything else, because that's coming up. I think the Steelers have a little over 2 months before they have to decide. If I recall, I think they have until the beginning part of May for that. But to me, with Broderick Jones, if it was just about his play on the field, it would be at most a coin flip, whether or not they should pick it up or not.
Correct.
If he was playing outstanding and then had the neck injury that he had and had to have surgery and everything, I think that would make picking up the option a coin flip, even if he was phenomenal at the position. Add those two things together, and it's a no-brainer. No, we can't pick this up. Yeah.
Nope, not picking it up.
Yeah, in my opinion. But when Omar Khan today was asked about Broderick Jones, this was with the Steelers media. This is before it was on the cameras. When he was asked about Broderick Jones, his reply was, it was a significant injury. He was not committing anything about, he's like, Broderick's working through it, but he didn't say anything to commit to Broderick Jones being ready to go for the 2026 season.
Yeah.
Now, does it mean that he won't be? But it also doesn't mean, but the fact that he didn't say it at all makes you do have to wonder about that neck injury.
Yeah, well, I'm imagining too that, with when that injury occurred during the season, when the surgery took place, he's probably just getting into rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's probably at the very beginning of getting over the surgery and the rehab part. So they probably don't have a whole lot of information for how that's going.
Yeah.
So without having that information, why would you say, "Oh, he's going to be good
Yeah.
to go"? You don't. Basically, what I took from Khan saying that day was, we don't know where he's at yet.
Yeah, because Pickens, you big dummy, has his Broderick Jones' career in jeopardy with this neck injury. I'm
I
not
don't know.
saying yes, but I can't say no. I can't say no to that. I didn't think Ryan Watt's career was in jeopardy with his neck injury.
Right.
It just seemed like, oh yeah, and then boom, that's what we got last offseason. I mean, it wasn't like he was he was a late round draft pick, but so it's not like it was devastating, but I mean, it was devastating for him. I just feel bad for the guy. So yeah, you don't want to mess with that in any kind of way there. So because like Steel Dog says, Broderick Jones' neck injury has everything to do with it. Yeah. So I felt like we do know more today than yesterday when it comes to left tackle.
Yes, we did.
With the fact that there wasn't any, oh yeah, Broderick's doing great, he should be ready to go by training camp or anything like that. So I think knowing that that's not a possibility, but also knowing that Dylan Cook did a fantastic job at the very end of the season. Yeah, they gave him a lot of help early on, but they were backing that off as he went. That's someone else that's there. To me, I think if Broderick Jones is injured, then I think Dylan Cook has the inside track to be the left tackle. If Broderick Jones is healthy, then I think it's a battle anyway. So I think by not saying anything, we actually learned a good bit. Is that a fair assessment?
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So, all right. So with that, we're going to roll into another one. Running backs. Omar Khan was asked about Kenneth Gainwell.
Okay.
And he said that they've talked to his people because he was with the Steelers last year. They don't have to wait, and they are aware that the Steelers would like to have him back next year. So, and then of course there was the talk of Caleb Johnson and everything, and him. That was brought up a little bit. To me, that might have told us a little bit. I expected Omar Khan to say that the Steelers would want Kenneth Gainwell back. To be specific enough to say we have made it aware to his people that we want him back. I think that does tell you a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it does tell you a little bit more. It tells you that the Steelers are out there, but I'm guessing this. They've probably floated a deal to his agent, and probably also said, though, if you all hit free agency before you would leave, if this wasn't good, come back to us and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Steel Dog wants to know if we want to bring back Gainwell and potentially trade Warren. No, I don't. And then John S. wants to know what comp pick, if healthy, could he bring back? Well, that all depends on what salary he gets.
Yep.
And honestly, being a running back, probably not super big. That's going to be anything above like maybe, if he got a nice deal as a running back, that probably is putting him in about the 5 range. But remember, you're only going to get something is if you lose more players than what you gain. So they could lose Gainwell. But if they sign somebody else that's also a compensatory free agent, then they could cancel out. So to me, you have to lose a lot in order to actually get those picks. And just as a reminder, Kyle Duggar would not count in that because they took years off the end of his contract, which makes him not a compensatory free agent. But then there's people out, last year the Steelers specifically signed players like Aaron Rodgers and Darius Slay that didn't count in the formula. I don't know if they'll have that same luxury again this year. So, there's that. All right. Good with running back?
Yes.
I think we know a little bit more. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know you're ready for it, Matt Katz. You might have to type it in again. Cornerback. That also is going to include the who was originally a corner, Jalen Ramsey, in this discussion. Omar Khan. I know I'm talking a lot, but I got to fill Rich in on some of the stuff that was being said as well. Omar Khan said that they would said about that liking to have both James Pierre and Asante Samuel Jr. back. That's saying what you need to say. In reality, I think they'd be fine with one of them. But you can't say, oh, wow, we would really like Pierre back. We understand the same moment. You don't say that now. You say you want them all back and then see how it goes. But apparently there was some people that were wondering what was going on with Jalen Ramsey. Just as a quick reminder, because I did this article a while ago, you are not going to get completely accurate information about Jalen Ramsey's contract from any of the typical sources. If you go look at Jalen Ramsey on Over the Cap, they say he has a $19.5 million cap hit and there's no dead money. And if they were to release him, they would have no dead money and they would save all that money. If you go to Spot Rack, it's a lower cap hit of $17 million, but almost $14 million in dead money if they were to release him. And you would have a very small cap savings. And I think both of them are wrong. And I think Over the Cap what Over the Cap did right is that they took all of the what's labeled as an other bonus that's part of salary cap stuff. It's basically they give you a new signing bonus every year, equivalent of like what a restructure would be each year. So it's like a new signing bonus each year that gets spread out to 5 years. But that's already it's almost like pre-restructuring your contract, I think is the best way to talk about it. He had a bunch of those types of other bonuses each year of his contract. It was widely reported when the Steelers traded for him that they moved all of those to base salary. So that's where I think Spot Rack has it wrong. Where I think Over the Cap has it wrong is it was also reported that Ramsey did get a signing bonus last year, which was a significant portion, basically almost all of what his base salary was supposed to be last year, which Over the Cap doesn't have, and that's why they don't have any dead money going into any other years. I have my own numbers, but I'm not sure if the Steelers kept his void years or got rid of his void years, because if they got rid of the void years, they would only be spread out over 4 years. But if they kept the void years, then it spreads out over 5. There's a lot of questions. Nobody's got it right. So if you think the Steelers are cutting Jalen Ramsey for a huge cap savings, it might not be very much cap savings at all. If you think Jalen Ramsey is under a $20 million cap hit, I have that it could be as high as 24. So there's a lot of variance in stuff that could be with his contract. So it's not nearly as cut and dry for us fans. But Omar Khan apparently was saying that about keeping Jalen Ramsey around. So, and Matt Cat 49 says that was where Khan was doing an interview specifically on NFL Network. So, now that I've talked about that for a long time, before we get into the other cornerback stuff, anything specifically about Jalen Ramsey?
No, other than, if he's much of a cap hit, then you kind of keep him there, especially because he's versatile. He can play at corner, he can play at safety. So there you go.
And honestly, I think his best role, and this was something that Zachary Smith brought up on Jeff Hartman's Monday morning conversation in yesterday's Let's Ride episode, is saying his best role was actually as slot corner.
Yes.
That's it. But he's also a guy that you don't take off the field. So you're going to want to have him be outside or at safety when he's not at slot corner. I think that makes a lot of sense there. So would he be a very expensive slot corner? Potentially. But they already have him. And as Omar Khan said, and where I'm going to talk about a little bit on Pittsburgh Standard Time Thursday morning, the Steelers have they have the cap space that they don't have to go cutting guys. for that reason. So now we hit up Jalen Ramsey. What are your thoughts on the other two free agent cornerbacks that were brought up by Omar Khan today?
Which were just refresh my memory.
Pierre and Samuel Jr.
Yeah. I'm right now would be with Khan. It's like, well, we're going to try to keep them both.
Yeah.
I like Asante Samuel Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was a small sample size.
Yeah.
I
couldn't get over how good James Pierre was playing last year.
And that was the other thing. Pierre played well last year.
Yeah.
He was not he played with a lot more confidence last year. And it showed in his game.
I mean, take it for what it's worth. But James Pierre was the second ranked cornerback by PFF last year of those that qualified with enough snaps.
Yeah.
Number 2. Joey Porter was 28. Pierre was 2. So when he was on the field, he was doing a nice job. Now, you might want to know, well, what was Asante Samuel? He didn't qualify with enough snaps, but he had almost an identical score to Porter. Porter was a 70.2 and Samuel was a 70.1. So, but Samuel actually had his highest. Samuel had better grades in run defense than he did in coverage.
See,
that's something to remember too.
To me, I'm sitting there thinking, well, let's see. If you don't have Asante Samuel Jr. and you have James Pierre, then you're playing Pierre on the outside. And when you don't need a slot, that he's coming off the field and Ramsey sliding out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different things they could do. And honestly, I think a guy like, if you listened to Patrick Graham's interview that he did with Steelers.com, he seems like the kind of guy that's going to help figure this out to get the best people out there doing the best things. So,
yeah.
Yep. All right. I've got one more. So for that one, do we know more than we did yesterday? I would say yes, because a lot of people thought for sure the Steelers were moving on or could potentially be moving on from Jalen Ramsey. And although it wasn't in his main interview, it seems like that's not in the Steelers' plans. Now, could that change? It could.
Of course it could.
It doesn't.
But
yeah, it doesn't seem like that's in their plans. Last but I mean, and there was there, and he. Sorry, I should say that Omar Khan also said, Joey Porter Jr. Well, at one point he did say something about working with him because he's in a year that they could extend him now. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. He didn't really say much about that, to no surprise. Last thing I was going to say of the fifth one, wide receivers. The only thing I really heard Omar Khan talk about was how much he likes Roman Wilson. And do you want to know why I think you would hear so much about Omar Khan talking about how much he likes Roman Wilson? Because he spent a third-round pick on him.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to like him. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but of course that's what you're going to hear from the GM. And that's really all about wide receiver.
The one thing, though, I was seeing a few things here and there was that apparently Khan we've talked about the last 2 years, the Steelers wide receiver room not being deep enough. And Khan kind of took responsibility for that.
And honestly, that's what I was wanting to hear more out of Omar Khan, honestly.
But the other thing is, well, of course he's going to take responsibility for that.
Mm-hmm.
If that's
is it going to be any different? Is it going to be a different philosophy?
Right. If the question comes up about it, and I mean, the only thing he could have done was lied through his teeth and said that there wasn't any issue.
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to do that either.
But I'd also be afraid that he kind of believes it. That's my biggest fear, because you've gone 2 years and you never addressed it. So to me, do we know more today than yesterday about wide receiver and what the Steelers are going to do? We do not. That is one that is pretty obvious that we don't.
We are sitting.
It's an important
sitting at the same place for the third year in a row now.
Yes. So which is funny because this time a year ago we were in this place, but it was with George Pickens and not DK Metcalf. Then a couple weeks later, it was with both of them for about 8 weeks. And
We
we're
thought,
in great
"Woo!"
shape. And then we weren't again.
No, we weren't again.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's funny because I think Steel Dog's right. He says Khan tried to do what he could without giving up draft capital. I think he's right. So anything else you want to say specifically about more today than yesterday?
No.
So do we know more than today than yesterday when it comes to the Steelers? Maybe
little
a
bit.
little, but probably not a lot.
Yep.
I think that's a good way to say it. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to touch on any other Steelers news that's happened. And we'll have our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk, which when we come back from the break, it's your week live chat. So you can go ahead and put any suggestions in there that you might have for our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk. Then we'll have our big question at the end. So stick around, Steelers fans. We'll be right back after these messages.
Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax. Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax.
Yeah, bro, I almost messed that up. I didn't give anybody a warning or anything about needing our 5 minutes non-Steelers talk from the live chat this week. So hopefully you all were thinking of something that we can get there and make a decision here quickly. Because honestly, I don't know that there's other than the Omar Khan talking today, there wasn't a ton of news, was there?
I have a piece of we probably should have done this at the beginning of the show, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up now.
Oh no, now's a great time.
With some pirate talk and the loss this week of
Yes,
the great
this
Bill Mazeroski.
This is the news time. This is when to talk about it. Obviously, that was before my time.
In mine.
And yours.
However, I do have a Bill Mazeroski story.
Okay, I'm ready for it. Give me the 45-second version.
I am trying to remember if it's when I was moving to Binghamton or what, or it may have been Renee and I still living in Frostburg. I don't know. But Dad and I were in the car. We were going up 81 between Hagerstown and where it splits to 78. And we ended up in behind this car. And it's a big, like Cadillac, white, and the license plate said Maz. And Dad was just like, I wonder. He said, let's get up next to it. And it was Bill Mazeroski.
Wow, you just passing him on the interstate. That's
no, not past. What are you talking about? We drove alongside for the longest time. You know? Like, who's Maz?
Oh, that's funny. That's great.
He was probably about ready to call the cops on us or something, because we stuck beside him for so long. But there you go.
That's funny. That's a good one. So, but yeah, that is, you get that. You get the when you look at just Pittsburgh sports in general, the loss of Mazeroski. Just on an aside, it's not really Steelers. Did you watch any Olympics?
Yes.
I watched curling and the playoff hockey. I didn't watch the round robin hockey. I watched like every bit of curling that I could.
Yeah, I saw lots of curling. I had fun watching the biathlon, cross country skiing and the shooting.
Well,
yeah,
I was watching
interesting.
The gold medal hockey game before church, and then I was in church, and then I was between services in church, watched a little bit, and then something started up at church, and I kept it up for a couple minutes, and they scored it overtime, and I jumped. I'm like, I hope no one saw that one. So that was pretty good. I'm trying to think of the only other news I could think of is, if you didn't catch it, the Patrick Graham interview that they had at Steelers.com was pretty good. That's been it was tough for the last couple weeks. I can't think of really anything else. The Steelers, there's no talk of using the franchise tag. I don't see any reason why they would. And whatnot. I'm going to bring this up real quick just because we can. This was from Rayner. Is it Rayner or Rainier?
Rayner.
Rainer. Yeah. I don't know how I would have got Rainier or yeah. Says became a Steelers fan from Toronto, Canada, and found this channel on YouTube since 2024. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And as we're going to say to everybody that's here listening, whether you're here live or listening to the audio, tell your friends. Tell your friends. All right. So Rich, I can't think of any other news. So what do we have here? We've got it. We have some
Yeah, we got a couple more in there, but
okay. The one from Pickens, You Big Dummy, I think we might have done that one before, but I would be willing to do it again because that's a good one. What else? What else do we have?
come on down, John.
Okay, sorry. And this, I should have brought this one up because this was from Blue Nose Steelhead. Said he's from Nova Scotia and followed us from the previous site.
From
So
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. Well, my Nova Scotia TV show's on tonight. I got to go watch. I got to go, but Curse of Oak Island's back on this week, so
I will say, them being from Nova Scotia, I have to get off topic again for just a second.
Yeah.
Funniest story I've ever heard told. Former dean of students at Lynchburg College in Virginia, talking about students that took off from the college and ended up stranded in Nova Scotia. Just this guy telling the story was ridiculous.
Well, I actually lost my deposit on a cruise to Nova Scotia because we decided to not pay the balance that was due on February 14th, 2020 for our in May of 2020. Because we're like, I'm worried that there's some things that are going to be happening. Oh, no, you're fine. They made us have to lose our deposit. 2 weeks later, they started refunding deposits, but we canceled ours early. So we didn't get, which isn't, but I was supposed to be in Nova Scotia for that. Never got to go. All right. So what do we have here, Rich? What do we have for our
John S. had one in there. I don't think, did you get that one?
The John S. Is that the one you want to do?
I don't know. That's another one I saw. You were asking.
The only other one I saw was the John S. and Pickens You Big Dummy.
Sure, let's do that one.
We'll do the John S. one because, like I said, Pickens You Big Dummy. I think we did that one before, but it's not like we can't do it again sometime. So keep that in your back pocket. All right. So, Rich, go ahead and read it for us.
All right, road trip snacks. This is to you, Dave, because I'm already here. You're driving to Western Maryland. Actually, we're driving to Pittsburgh, Dave, for the 2026.
Oh, no, you're driving to Western Maryland. People who listen to Let's Ride already know that we're having a draft party in Maryland.
You're
we just
3
haven't given
hours.
full details yet.
You're 3 hours into a 6-hour drive. You and the boys or gals are stopping at a gas station. One drink, one chip, one candy. What are you doing?
Okay. Did I hit start? Yeah, I hit start. Okay. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Let's kind of bounce it back and forth. Your drink, what are you getting?
Well, if it's available, I'm getting Cheerwine.
But it's probably not available.
If it's in an area where that's available, because I don't live in an area that it is available. So if I'm ever in a spot where they have it, then I'm getting it. If not, chances are, because I mainly just drink water. I drink coffee, but I don't drink coffee at other places anymore. Pretty much, I pretty much just drink my own coffee. So if I'm going to have anything else, it's probably going to be a sweet tea. If I was going to get a drink.
Okay. Me for drink. If we stop at Wawa, I'm getting coffee.
Okay.
Period. Okay. But if it's anywhere else, I'm going fountain drink, Dr. Pepper, and if it's like at a Sheetz or someplace, you have the option to add some flavors to it. Cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper.
It's funny because I'll hit cherry vanilla Coke on some of those machines. I prefer the cherry vanilla Pepsi because I'm one of those people that likes Pepsi over Coke. I know you think that's sacrilegious, but oh well.
We are no longer related.
But I don't really drink soda. I rarely drink soda. You know, when do I drink soda? When I'm eating popcorn at the movies. That's about mainly the only time I drink soda. All right. So one chip.
I'll call this a chip. My favorite go-to when I'm especially if I'm driving, especially if I'm by myself, long trip. Cheddar cheese combos.
That's a good choice. Pretzel or cracker?
Prefer pretzel, but I can do the cracker as well.
Yep. Okay. Me, once again, I'm going to give you a regional answer because it's one of those things. If it's ever available, I'm buying it. Do you know what it is, Rich?
What?
Oh, I thought you would be able to tell me.
Yes,
It's
I
honey
know.
barbecue
Honey
potato chips from
barbecue
Snyder's
Snyder's
Berlin,
of Berlin.
which you can get around Pittsburgh and everything. You can get them anywhere, anytime. I can't. So when I have an opportunity, that's what I'm buying. Like even when we went to the when I went to the playoff game with our brother-in-law and our nephew and my son, I bought a bag not to take to the stadium. I bought them to take home and eat. So that's my chip. If I'm not there and I'm just getting a regular thing of chips, it's probably either I prefer the regular barbecue, but I'll do the honey barbecue twists of Fritos. That's a pretty good one.
Gotcha.
Or if they have the salsa sun chips, those are pretty good too. It would be a toss up between those. And your one candy.
One candy. For me, easy. King size, whatchamacallit.
That's a good one. So I'm also going to tell you, this kind of depends on availability.
Why not? Why not let all your answers be
No.
Dave answers?
Well, what I'm saying is it's not even a regional thing. It's just some stores don't carry some of the best stuff. If they have it, I am not turning down peanut butter Snickers because that's like taking a fun-size Snickers bar on top of a Reese cup and eating them together at the same time. That's what they are. They're phenomenal. If they don't have them, then I'm looking for the Take 5, which even Jeff Hartman has given his stamp of approval. And it's an ongoing joke with my kids. Anytime that there's something going on, they're like, well, could the Hartmans even have that? That's sweet because they don't eat sweets. But Take 5, that's there. If I have to go more traditional than that because they don't have a big selection, then it's the obvious. It's the Reese cup.
You know what? I can tell you those peanut butter Snickers are really good. You want to know the first place I had those? They were giving them away for free all over the place
Really?
in Disney World.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Our first trip to Disney World, it was near Halloween and they were giving out, they just had bowls of them out everywhere. And it was just like, ooh, Snickers.
Yeah. So to me, I just like the combination of peanut butter and chocolate is great. But when you can add in either pretzel or the caramel and peanuts or anything else that can also go with it, that's money in the bank, in my opinion. So got some really good answers in the live chat. I do have to admit that was a whole lot of fun. You're ready for the big question, so we can finish it up here close to on time, bro.
Sure thing.
Here's my big question. We were asking, do we know more today than yesterday's? Because there are question marks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me your position of what's the biggest question mark right now, February 24th, 2026 for the 2026 Steelers. What is your biggest thing that you would like to know more of tomorrow if you had the option?
That's easy. Wide receiver.
All right. I think that is going to be a very popular one. Give me a little bit of explanation so I can keep typing.
Well, it was like I said before, we're going into this will be the third offseason in a row where we're feeling that we need to do more work in a wide receiver room.
Yeah.
So having been there the previous two off seasons, I want better answers than what we've gotten the previous 2 years.
Gotcha. Yep. Uh-oh.
What?
YouTube rejected my comment because they think it's spam. Well, I'll just tell you, I put it out there already, so you all can respond.
It says,
even though
what
it didn't
position
show
do you
up on
have
the
as the biggest question mark? There you go.
Yep. Yeah. What position you have? I'm going to say because it's. I think you took the obvious answer, but you also got to say because it's the most important position in all of professional sports that I would say quarterback.
And
I don't know that it's going to be And even any answer we get for this year is probably most likely only for this year. So that's it. So we're going to go with that. It's funny because Afton says YouTube rejects my comments all the time. I've never got that before.
Afton, we know the kind of stuff you write, so that doesn't surprise me.
Afton must be quite the spammer. And also, I don't know if you read that earlier. She says her mom prefers Pepsi products. So I'll go hang out with Kathy if you'd say I'm not part of your family anymore. Okay. So here we go. David Poe says quarterback. And Kathy says quarterback. I like this one from Steel Dog 88, left guard.
Yeah,
that's
true.
a really good one. That's a really good one. Okay, because you've got to have something. My thing is it you still have Spencer Anderson as the possibility, who started a number of games there. People would like to keep him as the jumbo tight end. I don't know how much jumbo tight end they're going to use under McCarthy. We'll have to see.
That's
okay.
Correct.
So
that
then
you already have a jumbo tight end.
Yeah.
Well, number 80.
It's better when you have a jumbo tight end and number 80 is what they were doing last year. I know. That's what made it so crazy. Afton Ford says wide receiver. TD Tom Dessenberger has the wide receiver room. Mr. Woodshot says wide receiver. And Matthew Bunk says quarterback. So I think all those are really good answers. Wait, I'm getting more. That's coming through. Brent Howell, I must have been frozen. Brent Howell says quarterback. Matt Cat just says secondary in general.
Well,
there's some questions with it.
And I understand why he put the secondary in general.
Because you don't know where to put Jalen Ramsey.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Pickens, you big dummy. He says left tackle. As much as I think that's a question mark, I think the Steelers have one thing you have to admit, if the Steelers roll with Dylan Cook, some people are like, oh, man, you really want to roll with Dylan Cook? You're going to get value there. Does it mean he's going to be outstanding? No. Does it mean he's probably going to be the lowest salary of any left tackle in the NFL? Probably.
You got quality time there last year from both Dylan Cook and Andrews Pete.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, no, you said Andrews Pete.
Huh?
And you said Andrews Pete?
Yeah.
I forgot about him. He's I'm pretty sure he's a free agent, so maybe he might even be back in the mix. I haven't done my breakdown of him yet. I got to remember. I can't remember what's going on with him. So, sorry, got to bring that back. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead since we brought up his message before. I'm going to let him take one from each side of the ball, although it's kind of breaking the rules. But from Rayner says safety and wide receiver. So, and it's funny because Kyle says Broderick Jones is under contract. So was Kyle not around earlier to hear about?
He might not have been here.
Big question marks about his neck injury.
Availability at the beginning of the season is still in question.
Let's just say this. There was nothing said today that made you feel better about it.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to say it?
Yes.
Yep. So
as I said, it may just be that they do not have enough information to make a definitive comment.
So to know who it is, no, but I do like that they do have some options. Kyle said, he hadn't heard that because he must have joined us late, like some people. All right. So with that, unless any more pop up here, make sure you're checking out all our podcasts. I can tell you this, throughout the offseason, we're not exactly sure if and when we'll get a Steel City Insider. They want to make sure they are at least doing a show every other week. Sometimes there'll be more with various things going on. Sometimes it might be off, but there will be one tomorrow. There'll be one out on the audio side tomorrow. You'll also get another Let's Ride from Jeff Hartman. Other than that, we should have our same lineup throughout the weekend. There might be some changing up of things as we head a little bit more into the off season. We're going to be having some staff meetings and everything and make sure that everyone's good and happy and everything. And we might have some, because some people might have whose availability to change at one point might be changing in another direction. Just stay tuned for any kind of those kind of changes. We'll let you know. And of course, make sure you're checking out steelcurtainnetwork.com. Lots of great stuff going there. Lots of breakdown coming up for the draft. We'll have stuff with the combine, all kinds of good stuff there. Rich, what do you have to say to close us out tonight?
What is there to say? We're coming up to, football, football drills in shorts and tank tops and stuff. As that combine grows near. I'm going to go ahead and start saying this again, is be careful of what you put stock into at the combine. Be careful. You don't want to overhype it and you don't want to underhype it. It takes a fine balance to get exactly what you may be seeing or not seeing at the combine.
Yes.
Don't forget the teams also have to spend a lot of time looking at these guys' tape, not just what they do at the combine.
You're doing a great job summing up my unpopular opinion from this past week. So perfect.
So, but that is coming up, and it is something to look forward to. And you get to see these potential draft picks. They get to talk with the media some. So it's just, it's something. It's something. But I always warn about putting too much into what you might find out from the combine. But it is something, and I will be looking forward to kind of talking about it a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to hang tight. Keep doing what I've been doing, which has been catching lots of Steeler highlights here and there from the season. It's the time of year where it's like, oh, this person's top 10 plays, keeping me excited about things, and just sticking with the news when the news is out there. Because believe it or not, we're 2 months away. Yeah 2 months from the draft. Gonna be crazy. Can't wait.
You gotta just chill out, man.
Can't wait.